What is going on, everybody? Jumbo Thick here. We are back with more Emberfell Whispers from the Stars, and we are joined by everybody now. So, I of course am your GM, your DM for the night, Jumbo Thick. We're joined with the Sands of Araby here in a minute. But regardless, though, let's start off. Let's do brief introductions. We've got everybody with us. Let's start with Andrea.
I am playing Zune. I will try to not get split in half by a dragon. Next.
Woo! Split in half. Well, I wonder how that can happen. All right. How about, Jumbo Smooth?
Hello, everyone. I am Jumbo Smooth. I'll be playing Rogar, son of Anu, this evening. He's 7'5", 400-pound dragonborn from Great White North. He's barbarian. He has a white and blue kimono on currently. He's got a sword that can turn into the shape of a jagged piece of coral called the Deep Cleaver. Yeah, that's Rogar.
That's Rogar. How about we slide on over to Kayla then?
Hello, I play Velree. I am also a barbarian, damn pure. I have magical claws. Pretty much just usually fuck people up with my claws, and all there is to it. So.
Okay, yeah,
you're welcome.
Yeah, that's what we're doing. Let's slide on over to Doobie 209.
High Elf, Time Wizard, Tristan Varel.
Tristan Varel, the High Elf Time Wizard. And last but not least, the man that needs no introduction, Dan Decker.
We're gonna introduce him anyway.
Go ahead.
Dan Decker, it's me. We are playing tonight. We are playing Razar. He's a old cleric.
Yes.
He's new to me. But we'll never know. We'll never know where his complete story. Perhaps you never know.
We'll never know, indeed.
He's a Azamar, goblin-esque looking fella, short for now. May grow into his own and someday.
Oh, grow into his own. Okay, then. All right, that's interesting.
Could hit a growth spurt.
Yeah. Well, let's see how that goes for you. Okay, so with that out of the way, with everybody introduced, let's pick right up. So last we left off, the party has found themselves on a journey towards Silver Durai, a very special place to our lovable bard Zune, a homecoming, one might say. And in so doing, from your trek from Brunwood, the city of your former companion Moog, rest in peace, Moog, you have fallen across some difficulties, a few bumps in the roads. One of those being a crazy house that had some close brothers lying within, and maybe interdimensional beings showed up at one point. And now, in the most recent series of events, you have found yourselves out in an open field just a day or two out from Silver Durai, when a horror from the sky descended upon your wagon. All of you beginning to flee, some of you not able to flee fast enough, as a large blue dragon, fully adult size, lasered the wagon and the rest of you with its lightning breath, exploding the wagon, killing pretty much everybody inside, knocking Zune and Razire unconscious, and Trist, who was in the direction of the beam, unconscious as well, with Nyarla meeting a grisly fate. As soon as we were down 3 party members, and the dragon was flying around and breathing its electric breath on the rest of the party, and it was not looking good. Not gonna lie, it was looking real bad, in fact. And as you guys were struggling to grip with the enormity of the challenge ahead of you, the dragon was seemingly thrown off as it attempted to leave the area without its current prey within its belly. And it appears that you were aided by a group of Draconians from the Draconian Kingdom. that have something to do with this dragon. We're not exactly sure of all the implications yet. However, you did come across 3 soldiers, and then 3 more prominent individuals that were riding these drakes, by these quadrupedal. They look like a lizard dragon, kind of. They're equivalent of mounts, and that's what they were riding in. I believe Rogar almost had one for a mount one day because he was almost sold an egg a long time ago. But regardless, though, you were invited to the camp of the prominent silver dragon. Let me put this up. All right. So you were given shelter in the camp of the party of the Draconian Kingdom, headed by a mighty silver dragonborn known by many names, who is asked to be referred as the champion. Also in this party, it was a more magical inclined individual with kind of like robes, a lot of like silvers and blues flecked in them. He had a very strange looking staff, a gnarled staff that kind of came up in almost like a spiral and almost came into like a trident, like tips on it. And you also, there also was a more roguish looking individual, like a hooded cloak. And they all appear to be draconian in nature. With the one being silver, the rest of them are actually blue scaled. I don't know if I mentioned that before. And with that being the case, as all of you were invited to camp, everyone was beginning to gather around. You guys were somewhat patched up by a few of the soldiers you were seen to, given some healing as camp was made. And as Rogar began to get excited because it was a silver dragonborn, it appeared to be the leader of this small band or hunting party, whatever they are. So he was about to strike up a conversation. Zune just kind of like tossed him to the side and just ran into the tent with the silver dragonborn, who did invited an individual into the tent. And then Zoom's like, hell yeah, I'm going. Pushed him aside, ran in there. The interior of the tent appeared to be much larger than the exterior, as if perhaps this is an interdimensional space that is much more full of finery than it should be for a camp just out in the woods. And as Zoom sat down next to Zilanthetis, he asked Zune to take off his armor. He got the top portion of his armor off, negating the illusion that Zune always looks like Zune is wearing like feathered boas and fancy clothes and crazy stuff, but none of it's real. It's all just an illusion. Really, there's just a glamored set of leather armor underneath, and apparently this silver dragonborn could tell. As he began to get somewhat close to Zune, taking off his own kind of like tabard that he wore, revealing his not necessarily scarred, but almost like tattooed back, and it's specifically most of his back kind of comes up around his shoulders. And while they did not appear to be Mar tattoos that you guys were worried about, they did appear some kind of arcane in nature. Not that Zune would know what these were. Some kind of sigils, magic doodahs that Trist is fiddled with, I'm sure. But that's what we're picking up. So, picking up in the tent, as Zune is currently sitting next to the champion. He glared at you somewhat, and I believe he was in the process of smelling you, taking big whiffs, just kind of deep breaths of it.
What do I know of Dragonborn? Can I roll to see if I know anything of Dragonborn culture to see if this is something I need to reciprocate? Or...
What you know of Dragonborn culture is what you've seen of Rogar. And Rogar was not... He was a very feral individual before he received his piercing. You're not... I'm sure it'd be difficult to tell what is what. What's going on.
Well, I will let him take the lead because, I don't know, something about I don't look it, but I'm old enough to be your great-great-great-great-grandma. Kind of like, how are you still alive? Rogar giving me the impression. Being the youngest of all of us and being an adult, that kind of seems like, how is this guy is this normal? I don't know. I've seen some weird stuff, not going to question it.
Okay.
At level 2 of exhaustion, he's going to take the lead. I'll let that happen this one time.
As he is inhaling you, you see there's a little bit of spittle, a little bit of drool that comes out around his teeth, begins to drip down. And he pulls away. He's like,
Shit.
well, how about you tell me about your city, your culture? How has it fared since the event?
You mentioned being around for around 500 years at least.
I had visited your city very, very long ago. Long before you or probably your parents were even around.
I suspect as much. When you say event, could you describe the event in question?
I believe the people in the dynasty refer to it as the schism.
As a bard, surely I know about this.
That is the almost apocalyptic event that killed all of the old gods as the old ones pushed in. It happened around 1,000 years ago. And culture has been rebuilding itself since then. Much of what is known before the schism is either hearsay or somewhat mythical in nature to most modern societies.
Well, I'll probably touch base on the strange thing. I'm imagining that he doesn't care so much about basic politics. He probably is a little more intrigued by things that seem abnormal. So I will give him kind of a high-level view of what weird things I know are weird based on how other people react to them. And I will try to follow his lead. If he seems bored, I will change the subject. If he seems like he's into it, I will give him more. I mean,
well, as you're talking about the generic kind of makeup of the city. He begins to kind of lounge backwards on the bed, and then So, did she make it? Spider Queen.
Well, there are some who believe she did not. There are others who believe she may have. I don't believe there's any real evidence one way or the other.
And where do you fall in that?
An impartial observer.
Impartial, you say? Go ahead and give me a deception test soon.
Oh, shit. I have to roll at disadvantage.
You do have disadvantage.
Oh, fuck, it doesn't matter, does it? Oh, he's gonna see straight through my bullshit. Motherfucker, it's the same roll. Okay, doesn't matter. 17.
17. Okay. I'll make a check for him. All right. I see that maybe some of your skills have become lackluster around the individuals you are traveling with. The previous drow I came across were much better liars than that.
Yeah, they have been very taxing traveling companions.
I'm very interested in that thing out there.
Rogar?
No, the thing. The creature.
There are many things that... Oh, talking about Velree.
Yes, the female.
Yeah. Well, you'll have to get in line. I think Trist is also very interested in that one.
Something extraplanar about her. Interesting. Dangerous.
She's quite fascinating. Would you like me to make an introduction? I mean...
Introduction. I will see her in due time, I'm sure.
Oh, Lord. I didn't say that out loud.
You still did not give me a proper answer. Do you worship the Queen?
I personally do not.
But you know of her, which means that you have connections in some way.
Well, I mean...
Does her brood still exist, or were they mostly expunged?
Again, it kind of depends on who you ask. I know some were driven out, and others are, the second they're suspected of it, they are dragged before judgment. So I'm sure there are more out there. I'm sure they still exist, but it's not very wise to speak publicly of it.
Very well. I could see this conversation's making you uncomfortable.
I'm always uncomfortable. But
I know you're shaking a little bit. I'm not intimidating, am I?
Incredibly, but it's not a bad thing. It's rare I meet someone who does not quite look his age, with the exception of my friend Velree.
Yes. Well, perhaps you'd like to liven things up.
Only on one condition. That if things are not to your satisfaction, I get another opportunity at a later date to...
That's funny.
Very
Are you a poet, a comedian, perhaps? I see you have the bard's talent.
Sometimes.
Well, perhaps a psalm, then, to get things started.
Well, then.
He lounges back, sits back on the pillows next to the headboard, and unfurls a taloned claw and plucks out of a dresser a large pipe, puts it between his teeth, begins to inhale, and it magically just kind of lights as he... Please. It's been a long time since I've heard the elves sing.
Well, I will definitely do my best. Since I'm at disadvantage because it's dead, I got a 22, so not my best.
22? Hey, 22 is still pretty good. Still pretty good.
I'm still going to put it all in for this.
So, I gotta ask, what instrument are you using soon?
I'm going to be using the lute.
The lute?
And what the hell he does with that.
Yeah, you produce the lute and you begin to sing the song. What song are you going to sing for him?
Probably, let's see. Probably the song that I had been working on regarding the previous owner of the lute.
I love it. I love it indeed. As you sing the song of the star-crossed lovers and the betrayal and the lust and all of the aspects of this story are told aloud. Zelanthitis, you see that he appears to be enjoying it, and as you're playing, as you begin to end the song, he begins to speak again. Oh, that was quite beautiful indeed. Where did you come across that by chance? And he points towards the lute.
I came across, well, we were both unlucky, but a hag in a cavern. And this was amongst her trash. And I made a point of fixing it, repairing it.
How did you repair it?
Oh, God. I don't even remember. Sheer force of will.
I ask just because I've seen that before. It is a quite special thing that you have in your hands right now. And he calls out, where is it? Adal, are you there?
Oh shit, my cat has a name.
The cat begins to come out of the lute.
Do you call him a doll?
Adal.
No.
Adal. Yes. It's good to see you, friend. It has been a long, long time. As your ghost-like cat begins to stretch out on the bed. Fancy seeing you here. Never thought we'd meet again. How is the Champion of Silver doing in this age? Well, I'm a little worse for wear, as you well know. And again, your master fared far worse than I. Yes, he did, in fact. But I'm not here to reminisce too much. What can you tell me about this creature that possesses you?
This is going to be insulting. I may not want to hear this.
Hey, Adal looks back at you. He is a philanderer, a liar, a cheat, and, I might say, a passionate lover. Singer of songs, and a enjoyer of finery in general. I knew you'd tell me the truth. Well, do you still wish to travel with this individual? Adal sits down, looks back at you, Zune. Maybe for a little longer. I'd like to see where this story's going. Very well. You might want to disappear for the next bit. As Adal quickly jumps back into the lute, and the champion is upon you, Zune.
Oh shit, I'm about to learn 500 years worth of skill.
and as he pounces upon you, we fade away from the tent as what is about to happen. We'll find out at a later time.
I will not be walking to Silvedurai. I got it.
Okay. So, as that all takes place, outside the tent, we have Rosiah giving the dulcet tones. He was singing aloud about nicknames and things and sorts. While Rogar, Velree, and Trist were tending to themselves. You do have the rest of these draconians at your leisure, should you wish to speak to any of them. But the forum is yours.
Speak to the rest of the dragons.
Okay, you guys can do whatever you'd like.
We don't hear any cries of pain from Zune in there, do we?
You cannot hear anything in the tent, in fact.
Okay.
Absolutely nothing.
That's comforting.
That's for your benefit.
As soon as when the fabric was moving, as Zune was bolting inside, you could hear like the subtle crackling of like brazier fire, and you probably got a few scents wafting out of like some kind of incense. But as soon as the tent flap closed, silence.
You heard them already.
Rogar is going to talk to Razire, and he is, set out the body of Narla.
Yes. Fun fact, Rogar, where were you keeping Yarla?
He was carrying her.
You were carrying her?
He was just, he was carrying her.
Yeah.
I'm going to assume you kind of set her down at some point while you guys were getting patched up. As you move to grab a hold of her, Rogar, you touch her, and she's warm.
Oh.
And you reach down, and you like go to... And she's breathing slowly.
I figure. Rogar will call Trist and Velree and fire over and come here. I believe she lives. Please confirm.
I will say the draconian wizard perks up. That thing was dead as a door in hell earlier. Did you perform some healing restoratives on it? A goblin thing? Points towards you, Razire.
No, not yet. No, I was,
How does something come back from the brink? Does it have some kind of magical enchantment upon it?
Well, miracles happen all the time, my friend. Who knows?
I beg to differ.
Well,
Miracles happen very seldom in this fallen world. Those outside the Draconian kingdom are nothing but savages and do-wells.
You're not wrong. There's plenty of savages out here, but this young lady is not one of them.
Let me see this thing. I must examine it.
I'm gonna go over and kind of guard her, make sure he doesn't do anything sketchy.
Don't pull up the veil.
Yeah, he's sitting there kind of he's got his little staff. He kind of hobbles over. The hooded one is Trist. None of you also notice, but Trist would notice that the hooded individual has slipped his hand into his kind of cloak and is readying something should something happen. But as the kind of old, he's an older dragonborn. They don't have hair, but you can just tell his scales are a little bit more like they've lost their luster a little bit. He just looks like an old lizard almost as he kind of hobbles over. You. He kind of nudges Trist with the tip of his staff. You stink of magic as well. Help me. What is this thing? What do you know of it?
I just know she's hard to get rid of. We try to get rid of her all the time, and she keeps coming back.
He looks at you for a moment. You've not studied this. You've not looked at it. You know not why it does this.
Apparently, if you look at it, you become enthralled in her beauty.
Ha! Poppycock. He reaches down to try to grab the veil.
I push his hand away.
And he kind of growls at you, Velree. He's like,
I growl back.
Fine. You hear a chuckle, a chuckle from the other side of the fire. Come now. Leave them be. The champion said they are his guests. We should not impose too much. Tal. If I wanted to speak to you, I would have spoken. And he kind of just hobbles over to the other side and sits down, kind of by himself. The soldiers have been stoic, almost unemotionally stoic, most of this camp. Not really speaking too much. They're not mute or anything, but they appear to just be very regimented in their duties.
Rosario, I was about to ask you to apply your trade on Nyarla, but I believe you are not needed anymore.
Well, we'll stick around. We'll make sure she's okay, but she seems to be tapped into some energy that perhaps even I do not know.
Her. Does she look like she has like wounds on her body still? Or...
So, are you going to examine her?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm not going to lift Viv.
I was saying.
Okay.
But,
all right.
I mean, as much as I can without lifting the veil.
She's still, and she's wearing like the charred remnants of of what was like the almost like a habit of a priestess of Boel. Most of her marks of station are just like shattered or just gone, turned to dust. But the large rends, specifically kind of like across her back and over her shoulder, where the flesh was exposed before, appears to be completely healed.
Perhaps we let her rest.
There are no scars that you can see.
Okay. No, like discolorations of like internal bleeding.
It looks like just like normal, like if you saw her any other day. She looks like she just appears to be
unconscious.
Almost
as though she knew she was going to die, perhaps in case a gentle repose upon herself. Who knows?
I mean, you don't know, Rogar. Maybe she did.
Mysteries of the world, Rogar.
Have they told us where we can go to for bed, to rest or anywhere? Do we have anywhere to sleep yet?
Tal looks over. If you wish to sleep, you can sleep over there. And he kind of like motions his claws over towards. It's not like the shitty side of the camp, but it's the side of the camp that might be close to the place where the soldiers have been dumping their piss.
Are there tents though, or is it just?
There are in fact extra tents that were set up for all of you, individual tents, I might add.
So I'm gonna carry Nyarla to one of them.
Okay, you carry Nyarla to one of them. The soldiers kind of eye all of you suspiciously as you kind of move around the camp. You guys are fed, and what you are fed is it's kind of like a stew, beef stew of some kind of like meat. Definitely not. You can tell it's not seafood for sure. I don't know if all of you eat it or what, but it is offered at some point.
Are there any rodents or animals nearby that?
Does Velree want to go hunt something?
I mean, yeah.
What? Give me a survival roll, Velree.
All right. Not terrible. 15.
Not bad at all. You do, in fact, and it is. You guys aren't in there isn't like a nearby forest or a lot of bushes or large plant life around here. It's mostly just sparse grassland. Really, it's just grassland. Relatively flat, a little rolling hills, but nothing too excessive yet. You are getting closer to the mountain, where it will get a little bit more dicey. But normal, just animal life out and about out here. You do spot a few birds of prey. You spot an owl at one point hunting. And as you very quietly slink out to the side of the camp, you kind of duck down. The soldiers eye you quizzically as you leave the camp by yourself. They don't say anything. However, Trist, you would notice that as Velree leaves, the more cloaked Dragonborn is also missing.
Like he vanished when I vanished?
He disappeared around the same time you did, apparently, Velree. And as you begin to hunt outside Velree, you see a creature, small woodland creature. Could be a rat. Maybe it's a gopher. You're not sure what the hell it is. It's something to eat. It doesn't really matter, does it? Why don't you go ahead and roll me initiative, Velree?
Initiative.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. 17. Velree, you go to lunge towards the creature, and before you can get to it, there's a dagger sticking out of it,
What?
stuck to the ground.
I look around.
You look around, you don't see anything.
I'm gonna, I don't know what to do. I'm just gonna kind of stand there and like be like, I guess hello, or
Half the fun's usually the hunt, isn't it?
do I reckon? Did I hear that guy talk before? Do I
Yeah,
reckon?
you heard him talk before. As the cloaked dragonborn kind of steps out, very well hidden, I might add. Steps out. He was probably maybe 10, 15 feet from you. It's dog barking in the distance.
My dog. I'm going to just be like looking at him suspiciously and looking at the dead animal now and be like, are you gonna eat it? Or is it for me?
That's for you, of course. Most of my meals are cooked.
That checks out.
I could cook it for you if you'd like.
No, thank you.
Only take me a second.
Suspicious. I'm gonna like, looking at him suspiciously and slowly grab it.
Oh, can I have that back?
The dagger.
Yeah.
Is it special to you?
Not really.
Guess.
I mean, if you'd like to keep it, I'm more than willing to part. Anything for a creature such as yourself.
What's that supposed to be?
I mean, no offense. I mean, I am thrilled to see a hunter at work. A true hunter, I might add.
You didn't let me finish the kill. You took away.
Well, you can't be upset. I'm just better than you.
I'm gonna like bite the head off and
savagely bite it off. As you rip the head off, don't eat that raw just for my benefits. Surely you want it cooked. I'm being serious. It'd only take me a moment.
I'm gonna like stare him in the eyes while I like suck the blood off.
Yeah. It's like, very well, very well. And then he turns. I'll leave you to your meal unless you would like to strike up a conversation. Coughing, blood spattering out of her mouth.
Valerie's not used to this sort of attention, I don't know. Is there do I sense any other animal nearby?
With your 15?
Mm-hmm.
I'd say, yeah, you hear something rustling in a bush nearby, yes. Like a small, like, shrub, very low to the ground.
I'm gonna look at, what's the guy's name?
You don't know his name. Nobody has asked anyone's name, I might add. No one in the party has asked anyone's names.
Well, we heard tall or something.
You heard them mention names, yes.
Okay.
But no.
I'm just gonna like look him in the eye and look over towards the direction of where that other animal is.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, ready, set, go. And like,
go ahead and roll initiative again.
Oh, not very good.
You can always use a lucky point. I mean, you got 3 of them,
No.
Velree, you managed, despite he rolled very poorly, much worse than you. Oh, you're able to, and you just kind of like launch yourself with extreme speed towards the bush. As your claws rake in, and you pull out a large snake. It's a pretty good size. It looks like there's it's actually has a partially full belly. There's a large knot in the center of it, as if it was eating something else. And it like trying to hisses at you, tries to bite you, and you just
I hiss back and then bite. Yeah,
bite its head off. Blood spurts everywhere, and he's, well, gotta hand it to you. You are exquisite.
No one tells me they're better than me at hunting.
There's a little bit of, as he says that, there's a little bit of twinge of almost like electricity between his lips. I'm gonna need to take my leave then. Maybe I'll see you later. And he quickly turns on his heels and begins to move back towards camp.
Have you ever seen anyone with electricity on us before?
The dragon that almost fried all of you.
Oh, shit.
You would know Rogar sometimes has frost come out of his mouth. You might get the idea that these are blue-scaled dragonborn, and they might have electrical breath.
Hit it, Velree. Hit it. Just go for it, girl.
He's not the dragon that attacked us, is he?
No, this is a dragonborn, as far as you know.
Right. Okay.
Dragon man. I mean, he's man-sized. Now, now, unlike Rogar, he's not as bulky, for sure. And Rogar is significantly larger than all of the dragonborn you've met here by a pretty good amount. Rogar's a big beefcake. He's like Arnold Schwarzenegger walking around. The rest of these guys, not so much. The little Van Dams, they're just not there. But he's a lot more lithe, but still, he's a dragon person.
I'm gonna stalk him on a stealthily.
Really?
Okay. Advancers.
Go ahead and give me a survival check.
Not a stealth check?
You're going to try to stalk him, correct?
Well, I mean, just follow him secret, quietly. I just not stalk him in the back.
I'll tell you what. We will do this. Roll me a d20. I will give you advantage, and it will count for both your stealth check and it will count for your survival check.
I didn't mean stalk him I'm going to attack him.
I know what you meant. Okay. You're going to try to follow him.
Yeah. 1d20?
2. You can roll with advantage. Like you do for your normal stealth roll.
Okay. Ooh, is that a nat 20? Hell yeah.
It is. So I'll say, and yeah, his he can't beat that with his perception. What is your survival? It's not super high.
It's a +5.
+5? Okay, yeah. Shit, man. Okay. No. You watch as he turns. And as he begins to move away, you lose sight of him for just a second. But you hear, your other senses kick in, your more primal senses kick in. And you're able to track him back to camp. He takes kind of a roundabout route as you begin to kind of slowly stalk him as he's moving back towards camp. And then you notice he's not moving back towards camp, Velree.
Where he going?
Are you going to keep following?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, how far away from camp?
He's moved at least a couple minutes from camp at this point.
Yeah, I'm still following.
Okay. As you continue to follow him, Velree, you watch as you kind of come around the top of one of the low hills. You kind of peek over, and you see that there is a blanket laid out. He's currently kind of laying one out here, and he set up a little small fire that he lights with his electrical breath. and he takes something out of his bag and kind of puts it on a spit and begins to grill it. And he sits down.
Sorry, I saw the group chat. That made me giggle. So he's just chilling there.
He's just sitting down. He looks up towards the stars, the large ring that circles Drelora, prominent right now.
I'm just gonna watch him for a little bit. I'm just gonna sit there and watch him. Like a little
Sit
creeper.
there and quietly watch him. Almost like these, if anyone else could see this scene, they would see a man just kind of beginning to rest, kind of take it all in, get away from the rest of the camp, get away from the people he's been traveling with for God knows how long, and have just a moment of quiet and rest. And you see two beady eyes about 10 feet away above a hill just staring at him. Possibly bloodshot, who knows, as that scene begins to play out.
Velree, we'll work on it. We'll work on this.
What is Trist doing in this moment, Trist?
Tristan is drawing a tic-tac-toe square into the ground, and he is playing with Brazier or Rogar.
I believe
Got
Brazier
a
would probably take
stick
you up on
that
that.
he draws it in there.
A couple of the soldiers kind of walk over. Yes. Talons and toes. We play this game in our kingdom. Would you mind if we joined?
By all means, the more the merrier.
They sit down, and the three soldiers have taken a load off. Trist begin to play with him. Razire, do you play?
Of course, Rosario's playing. Well, there's time for the merriment and fun to be had. Yay!
Games are had, a little bit of revelry over there. Rogar, are you doing anything tonight?
Rogar is, I guess, will be probably talking with the group. Talk to the elder wizard.
Yeah, you approach the elder. You kind of like saunter. Do you like just kind of like approach him, or
I just approach him? Yeah.
And what exactly do you want, Savage?
What color are his scales?
Blue.
Blue. I would talk to you, elder.
And what do you need from me, child of Amu?
I have many questions.
Well, it is impolite in my country to give your name before we interact.
I am Rogar, son of Amu.
I am Tal Zarcios, steward of Zelanthidis. That is a proper title.
Does the name Zelanthidis mean anything?
That is
Rogar?
the Silver Dragonborn.
Yeah,
it's one of his titles. But as far as it wouldn't mean anything to you, no.
As far as like in dragon language, does it mean anything? Is what I mean. Was like
it is
Draconic.
The language they are speaking Goblin for everybody's sake, but in Draconic, it is the equivalent of the Champion of Silver.
Okay.
It would be
Rogar would
be his like Dragonborn name.
Rogar would be speaking in Draconic.
Okay. Yeah.
And Razar is enjoying the conversation because he can also.
At least you can speak in your native tongue. What do you wish to know?
I am interested in many things. Your city, for example, your kingdom.
What
are you all blue scale, silver?
I see. You've never been, have you?
I have not. My tribe is all white, Dragonborn.
Yes, we've seen your kind before. Well, To answer your question, not entirely. The majority of our citizenry is in fact blue-scaled, some silver. There are a few others of the chromatic and metallic that seek refuge within our great city. But many of our brethren have been scattered about this world, some not as fortunate as the rest of us to be able to band together.
Are you all descended from the same sire?
How exactly do you think, what do you think we are, Rogar, son of Amu?
I would assume you were like Rogar, like I.
And when you say I, are you implying that your father is in fact actually Amu?
My father is Amu.
I mean, yes, I think that you believe he's your father, but is he really your
At this point,
father?
Rogar will say one more time, my father is Amu.
Very well. Very well.
Rosire's watching like a ping pong game.
Usually, those of half-blood are much more blessed than us. Yes, we are, in fact, descendants, long-distant descendants of dragonkind, indeed. But since it has been quite some time since we have seen new half-dragons walk this earth.
I am not as blessed as my brothers.
You have brothers in this tribe. Many.
I did. Only a few. They guarded Amu's lair.
And where exactly in the waste does your tribe reside?
It's hard to pinpoint exactly. Have you noticed this? And he starts flicking his headband ring.
Yes, I have noticed it.
I am been blessed with a far greater intelligence than I had previously.
He takes a moment, and his eyes kind of like glow with almost like an electrical static for a moment. Ah, well, that explains it. That's why you're so well versed for now. Of course, all things could be explained with magic. Very well. I see that you are, due to your current magical means, you are worthy of at least speaking with. Yes, I do in fact see it.
I headed south, and if I could see the landmass, I could show you where my tribe resides. Across the mountain.
The landmass, you say?
Yes.
He sweeps his hand across the ground, clearing out a spot,
and
then places his claws over them, and as he begins to chant something, the earth begins to shift and move, and a fairly detailed map of the geological formations of the frigid waste begin to emerge. You recognize some of them, not all of it.
Yeah. Kind of point, I guess, in the general direction. This is
yes,
quite something.
Very far north indeed. You must have been dealing with the frost giants then.
Yes, our greatest competitor.
Disgusting creatures. Clinging on to their long-lost Jotunheim.
Rogar is going to sit down, I guess, on a log or whatever they're sitting on, and I have a question about your soldiers. Why do they wear armor like the Southerners?
to protect themselves. I do not need much because I have magical means. Our scales provide some. But as he looks you over, you appear to be one of the more brutish individuals that can just take a blow. Many of us are like the rest of these creatures you travel with. We need protection, just like anyone else.
Did Rogar, when he saw the continuous blast of ice that came overhead,
Yes.
did he recognize that as a breath attack, or did he hard to tell?
It'd be hard to tell. Difficult to tell.
Okay. Your champion, the one you serve.
Yes, Xanthatis.
What is his position in your kingdom?
He is one of the 9. He is essentially one of the many rulers of our kingdom. We are a collection of... How should I explain this to you? We are a collection of kings, of dukes, under one high king. Xanthatis is one of our best warriors.
The dragon we search for, what is his or her name?
That, I don't know how much I should be revealing to you. Why don't you give me a persuasion check, Rogar? Why did it not come up for me? Oh, there it is. There it is.
Okay.
Got it. Okay. All right. He kind of like purses his lips back, revealing some of his teeth. Old, but still sharp. I think better of revealing too much to you. It would be above my station to speak of such things.
How do you plan on defeating such a being?
How do you hunt any beast? You should know. As he smiles with bait.
Is it not wrong to hunt one with the dragon's blood?
Well, there are many that would squander their gifts, and let's just say that it is not unheard of.
I've never met a different scaled dragonborn or dragon.
There are not as many of us as there once were, but there are enough.
From what an old teacher told me, that the dragons are a rarity these days, hunted to extinction almost.
The ones of us that still have some wits about us have resided here in the kingdom. The rest have gone feral creatures, such as what has happened to our prey.
Do you know of a dragonborn named Sinsu Green?
Give me an insight check, Rogar. This will be against his deception check.
I'm not good at insight. Natural 1, baby.
Natural 1. He's hard to read, Rogar.
All right.
I don't know what you speak of. And he turns his back and begins to walk away immediately. Hobbles away.
Never heard of him. Yeah. All right. Well, that's Rogar.
Okay.
You?
As that takes place, Zune, you awaken. You were rendered unconscious at some point.
Shit.
You were quite sore.
Ow.
There are, in fact, bandages that have been applied to your back where claws may or may not have shredded into you.
Oh, shit.
At some point. But you kind of lay there next to the champion, who just has you kind of like curled up next to him, and it's almost like he's slightly increased in size. He's somewhere around 8 or 9 feet tall right now.
Where the night.
And he kind of has his large arm wrapped around you, and you're kind of like snugly in there. And he's, oh, it's been an age.
Holy hell.
Holy hell.
Well, I imagine, am I long rested or?
No, you are not long rested.
All right, well.
But you are just kind of laying there. And as he begins to stroke your head.
We're going for round.
What was that?
We're going for round 2.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
You grab a hold of his hand?
Yeah, I'm crawling back on top of him because nobody makes me pass out. We're going for he's
okay. Zune, you grab a hold of his hand and you're like, no, and you can't move him. He's holding it. What is this? What exactly do you want, little one?
Yeah, this is not where it ends. I'm glad that you're satisfied.
Oh.
I'm not. So we need to
Really?
Total bluff, but we'll see how this ends.
Why would you?
The entire culture right now. And
All right. Zune, let's see how long you last. Why don't you give me a Constitution saving throw?
Good. I think I'm at disadvantage.
No, you're not at saving throws.
Oh shit, 20.
20. With a 20, you are able to remain conscious for quite some time. It's an experience that it's like fringe on is it pleasurable or is it painful? It's like it's interesting to say the least. Very different than anything you've ever experienced before, mostly because the champion is extremely aggressive the entire time.
Oh, that's
and he is so much stronger than you that sometimes you feel like a child in his arms. It might be uncomfortable. I'm not sure how Zune feels about that, but
sometimes it's good to be on the receiving end of discomfort. Just exactly, just to be a better lover later. So
exactly.
This is
all right. But I'll say with the 20, after all of the after everything begins to wrap up. The champion's a little winded.
Good.
He just kind of like takes a breath. And as he exhales, a wave of frost just kind of slips out of his lips and kind of like frosts the top of your head for just a moment, and then it just disappears. Like, oh, sorry. Oh, lost my cool there for a moment. I had to. I'm sorry. As this happens, he then begins to drift to sleep as well.
All right, now we can have a nice nap.
All of you will get a long rest.
Yes.
I wanted to circle back to my scene real quick.
Okay, Velree, what do you want to do?
As I'm like creepily watching him.
Yes, you are.
Mm-hmm. I want to try and just like sneak up to him and like peer him in the face real quick and see how he reacts.
Okay. You had a pretty high stealth roll.
Right.
Let me get a perception check for him. That's not going to be enough. Velree, you creep up to him. He's dozing. He's kind of like arms behind his head. His hood is pulled back. You can see all of his scales revealed. there's a really nasty looking scar across his face. They look like talon marks, like 3 or 4 of them, that rip across the top of his head and run across the right side of his face. Would be relatively hard to see while the hood is up. They're deep, very deep. And as you move over to him, you kind of like look over him. And within seconds, there's like a dagger in his hands, and then he stops. Well, you startled me.
Good.
Did you want to talk or something, or are you going to eat me now?
I just wanted to. So you're really not scared of me, and I didn't gross you out biting off those heads.
If you've seen the things I've seen, and traveled with the people I've traveled with, you are not the least bit frightening.
I'm just gonna sit there for a second and be like, she's never heard these words before, you know? So she's, Noah's just gonna be like, huh. You are strange to me. And,
okay.
I'm just gonna, like, cuddle up to him.
Oh, all right. He just kind of sits there. Gives a slip an arm around you. And then, like, waiting for the retaliation.
No. I'm gonna be like, Velree's definitely, like, super awkward at the same time because she hasn't shown real emotion to anyone like this in a long time.
Mm-hmm.
It's very awkward to her as well.
As the two of you lay there, he will begin to tell you tales of the kingdom. And some of his adventures that he's had. You will discover that the kingdom itself is run like a more of an Arthurian kind of place, where there are knights and peasants, and there's glory and all these other aspects of the Draconian kingdom that is much different than what is valued in the dynasty. There's a great value placed upon hunting, upon being able to outwit your opponent. As he claims, as they've done many times to the dynasty, over and over. But he kind of just rambles on, and is there anything you'd like to do, Velree?
Just, where the night goes, you know, whatever happens, happens.
All right. He just kind of tells you tales, and at some point, you both find sleep.
Great.
Just sitting there on a little blanket together, snuggled out. All right. And everyone has a long rest. So, the next morning, Zune, you find yourself probably extremely sore in many places. You, however, have no exhaustion.
Oh crap, we can go for round 8.
Your exhaustion is negated by spending time in the champion's chambers.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Remember, I thought he just had like magic sex. I was about to think
you could bottle his no, we're not gonna do it. All right. Well, from the wakefulness, you actually, despite how sore you are, you don't feel like the weight of the exhaustion that you were carrying over your adventure any longer.
Is he still in there?
Yes, he is. He's currently clothing himself, and he is. It appears that he is strapping on some it looks like a sash that has like an armored pauldron on it, and it is white, pure white. So he puts it on. Ah, you're finally awake. Well, that was enjoyable to say the least. It's been some time since I've come the company of an elf, a good elf at that.
How do you feel about a little pre-breakfast snack?
Oh, don't tempt me. As you see, he has shrunk down to his more normal size.
Which means that.
And as you say the snack, you see that his clothes begin to tighten as his form begins to slightly, his whole body begins to like slightly bulge slightly, and he fights it down. And as he looks over at you, oh, the fleeting lives of you lesser folk. Perhaps, maybe, if you decide to join my camp another night, maybe we can invest in a more interesting relationship.
Well, I would be open to that.
Well, I have to hunt a dragon.
I'm going to let him hunt a dragon. That's kind of awesome. And I am going to wait until he leaves so he doesn't see me limping to my clothes. Because it ruins the whole thing. Yes.
Oh, God.
Break.
Get my clothes on. Make sure the armor works. Like, oh my God.
Every now and then to just stop and not move and breathe for a minute.
Zoanthetis appears in the camp. I'm assuming most of you are awake. Oddly enough, Velree and the more roguish individual are missing. Azun, as you're getting your stuff together, the champion announces to the camp, we break camp soon. What's for breakfast, men? And one of the soldiers, this way, my lord. I have your breakfast ready. And Rogar, you're watching. A whole pig is like set in front of him. It's large. Oh yes, and it's cooked. It is cooked very well. I'm not sure how Razire and Trist feel about what's about to happen, but after witnessing what Velree has done to food, you're probably not too surprised. As his mouth opens and he grabs the animal and just begins to savage it as he begins ripping into its innards. Ravenous, one might say.
I suppose with that meat. No. Yeah.
The rest of you are offered meals. The rest of you, besides Rogar, one of the soldiers is about to bring you a plate of what they're going to serve the lesser races. Mostly, it is a similar pork, but it is sliced and cut thin. There appears to be some kind of like eggs and something else that has been kind of cooked with it. However, the champion motions, no, he gets that. And a whole pig is brought to you, Rogar, similar to what the champion was gifted with, placed before you. You look like you could use a meal.
I thank you. And let's start eating.
How does Rogar eat?
Like he normally does.
How does he normally eat?
Tears into things usually.
Okay.
You know.
With like the claws, or are you going to rip into it?
We'll just like rip off haunches.
Rip off a piece, you know.
Yeah.
He looks at you and just kind of smiles. Well, like father, like son.
You know my father.
Of course I know Amu. He was an interesting individual. The icing death, they used to call them. I know many dragons of the old ages. I, of course, am the champion Silver, the Cold Embrace. I am quite old.
Are you... question. Does Rogar suspect that Zelanthus is a dragon himself?
Give me an insight check, Rogar.
Rogar's not good at it.
Unfortunately, that's how you
Nice!
hurt your feelings. You're not sure, Rogar. This individual is strange. You and, I will say, Rogar, your only interactions with an actual dragon has been Amu, who was much more like a savage beast. And of course, the thing that attacked you from the skies, which was more similar to an animal than a respectful creature. So you're not sure, Rogar.
Okay. I've not met many who have, besides my tribespeople, who have ever met Tom.
Well, a few of the old dragons are still around in some shape or form. Of course, Amu's, last I checked, he was still around. Karaxen, the Wraith of the Wood, is still around in his less desirable state. As well as Sensu the Serpent, and unfortunately, Dovalin, the Bitter Flame. He's had a much less than desirable end than what I wish for myself.
You had mentioned Sensu.
Of course.
I know of her. She was a teacher at our tribe.
That doesn't sound like her.
My tribe was destroyed. Do you know this?
That does sound like her. She's the crafty one. Green-scaled. Greedy. Nasty thing.
She had lived with us for years.
In the north, in the ice, I find that hard to believe.
It's true.
Was taking up with Karaxen the last time I saw her. Then again, that's been somewhere around 1,000 years ago.
My tribe went on a hunt. We were gone for many days. When we returned, our village was being destroyed. It appeared that it was Amu who decided to destroy it. Or something close to his ability. As he flew away, I yelled out to Sensu to see if she knew what was happening. She simply vanished.
Well,
I've been searching for her since for answers.
You haven't been searching hard, boy. She's been here in the dynasty for quite some time.
I'm aware we have been, or at least I have been, multiple steps behind her. Everywhere I go, she seems to have some sort of influence over the area.
Let me ask, White Scale, do you lead this band?
I believe I do.
Then let us talk in private.
Very well.
He stands up, motions for one of the soldiers to collect his meal and yours, and walks into his tent.
Okay. Walk in after.
Rogar, you walk into the tent. The bed is a mess. There is pillows in several different places on the floor. There are claw marks along some of the bedposts, deep wrenches and gouges. There is a font of crystallized ice on the ceiling that looks like it just won't, won't melt.
Interesting.
As you do this,
Not ice. No, I'm kidding.
well, Rogar, I feel that I should tell you what we hunt. You see, this might interest you. Maybe we can partner on this. We are hunting Coradil. He was a knight, and my responsibility. You see, he was my spy. He was keeping tabs on a green dragonborn that I have come to suspect to be Sensu. Of course, he stopped giving orders, despite tracking her for the better part of 2 centuries. You see, it would be useful for the kingdom to hopefully find a sympathetic ally to Shogun's council, and beyond, as she is one to travel. Obviously, he was found out, or he finally broke under the pressure. His final reports were erratic and babbling of whispering stars and some place called Kadath. Regardless, he needs to be put down. He's a liability. The dynasty cannot know that we had agents here. It would cause, it would cause a incident between our empires. The one that we don't necessarily wish to bring up at this current moment. And were you going to say something, Rogar?
It's never easy to see someone lose himself to madness. It is a shame that such a powerful being must be put down, but it's probably better for everyone.
Powerful. Oh, in my prime, he would have been but a fly, an ant. I would have crushed him easily. Sadly, after what took place, I am not as I once was. Just like Amu is not what he once was. He had much more grace. He had much more poise when I knew him. In fact, we had a great many philosophical conversations.
I would enjoy hearing about these conversations if you have the time in the future.
Of course, but it's time to hunt a dragon.
Very well.
Perhaps we should partner on this, friend. You see, my advisors, and it was my plan to begin with. We'd hoped to use all of you as bait. We were going to send you on your way and stalk you, wait for it to kill you all, and then pounce upon it as it was feasting on your corpses. But perhaps we do not need to do that any longer. Perhaps we
I would
do this
appreciate
together.
That. That is the way things should be done when it comes to hunting.
Exactly. Exactly. Here's what I can provide you, Rogar. I, unfortunately, am not what I once was. These scars, as he kind of motions back, kind of peels back some of his clothing, have stripped me of what I once was. I am a shell of my former self. And it is sad to say I will need aid in laying low this creature. I would like your band to be the sword. I will be the net. Me and my companions will trap the creature on the ground. But it will be up to you to put him down. Slay him.
We will try. As you saw last time, it did not go very well for our party. It did have the advantage of attacking first, but
Do not have magical creatures in your wake. I've seen both of them. They stink of it. Especially that elf with the pointy ears.
No, unfortunately, he was struck before he could wield his magics, along with the other. Unfortunately, all of the magically inclined were struck instantly, thrown from their carriage.
Yes. Unfortunately, our netting spells were not adequate at that time, but we will do better this time. I think that Tal has perfected the necessary penmanship to make this work. No better time than now, don't you think?
Agree. The sooner it is put down, the better. Perhaps, if you would allow, when we slay Corridor, would you permit me to harvest some of his scales?
Oh. You would clothe yourself in your own. How savage of you. He says it with a smirk.
I would, perhaps. I have recently started studying alchemical interests.
Well, he might be not as much as you'd hoped, but you're more than welcome to harvest whatever you can.
Thank you.
Take whatever you need. I only ask that you leave me the head. I have to bring it back with me, you see.
Very well.
Good. And then he moves out of the tent. And that's where we're going to take our first break.
All right.